Good evening from Washington. I'm Larry O'Connor. Last night on PBS, Judy Woodruff interviewed President Joe Biden, and honestly, it was the journalist equivalent of a full body massage. But there was one 90-second exchange about Biden's classified document scandal, which actually may put this president in even more hot water than he has been on this. I want you to watch this whole thing, and then we're going to break it down here.
It's clear there's a difference between the way you've handled this and former President Trump. You've cooperated with the archives, with the FBI. But I want to ask you quickly about what you said last September. You said just possessing classified documents is, you said, totally irresponsible. So what was totally irresponsible about the fact that you had some?
What they've informed me not to speak to this issue to any way try to prejudice the investigation that's going on. But what I was talking about was what was laid out. All these documents were top secret, code word, and all the rest. I'm not at liberty, and I'm not even sure. I made voluntarily, no one's had to threaten to do anything. Voluntarily open every single aperture I have with house, offices, everything for them to come and look and spend hours searching my home. Invited them. Nobody. And so, and the best of my knowledge, the kinds of things they picked up are things that from 1974, and stray papers. There may be something else I don't know. But one of the things that happened is that what was not done well is as they packed up my offices to move them, they didn't do the kind of job that should have been done to go thoroughly through every single piece of literature that's there. Right. But I just let the investigation have, decide what's going on, and we'll see.
Do you realize that in that one shot, you're looking at about 230 years of experience in Washington, D.C. between the two of them? Not to mention about $1.5 million worth of plastic surgery. Good God, neither of them actually had facial expressions. They're so tight. Anyway, let's break this down piece by piece. Let's start with that great question from Judy Woodruff.
It's clear there's a difference between the way you've handled this and former President Trump. You've cooperated with the archives, with the FBI.
Wow, that's a hell of a lot of grace Judy Woodruff is affording the president in the midst of a scandal. There, in fact, is a difference between Biden's classified document mess and the Mar-a-Lago raid. See, it's mostly in that Trump kept his presidential documents in a secured office in a reinforced compound with an extra lock installed on the advice of federal officials, and Biden's were tossed in the corner of his garage next to his Corvette with easy access for his crackhead felonious son. Also, let's be clear here, Biden did not fully cooperate with the archives or the FBI. Biden's personal attorneys found classified documents in the D.C. office of his think tank. They notified the White House, not the FBI, and then the White House notified the archives, not the FBI, and the archives kept it secret until the Inspector General for the archives discovered the situation. They notified the FBI. Okay, let's go.
But I want to ask you quickly about what you said last September. You said just possessing classified documents is, you said, totally irresponsible. So what was totally irresponsible about the fact that you had some?
What they've informed me not to speak to this issue to any way try to prejudice the investigation that's going on.
Sure. First of all, who's they? Who's informed Biden not to speak on the issue? Biden can say whatever he wants to say about this. That's not a violation of law or ethics for him to declare his innocence, which he's done, and to answer any question anyone might have for him, even stupid questions from Judy Woodruff. As we've pointed out before on this issue, Joe Biden has claimed his innocence. In fact, he really isn't supposed to say anything about this issue so that he wouldn't prejudice the investigation, as he claims. Then he shouldn't declare his innocence. Certainly, the president declaring his innocence would prejudice the investigation if the FBI agents were worried about keeping their jobs if they found something to the contrary. But more importantly, the fact that he's declared his innocence means that he believes he's done nothing wrong. The truth is on his side. If you've done nothing wrong and you haven't violated the law and the truth is on your side and there's literally nothing stopping you from answering any question that might come up about this, because, well, if you're completely innocent, anything you say will only support your innocence. How could you possibly say something that could get you in trouble if you haven't done anything wrong in the first place? But of course he has done something wrong. And that's why he's been told by his lawyers not to say anything.
But What I was talking about was what was laid out. All these documents were top secret, code word, and all the rest.
Oh, okay. So when Biden said that Trump having classified documents was totally irresponsible, he was really talking about the documents being all laid out with top secret codes and all the rest. What the hell is he talking about? The documents all laid out in that famous image was taken by the FBI after they laid out all the documents. That's not how Trump kept the documents. And how do we know that Biden's documents didn't have top secret code words and all the rest? Biden can't wiggle out of the hypocrisy here. If it was irresponsible for Trump to have classified documents, then it's irresponsible for Biden. End of discussion.
I'm not at liberty, and I'm not even sure. I made voluntarily, no one's had to threaten to do anything. Voluntarily open every single aperture I have with the house, offices, everything for them to come and look and spend hours searching my home. Invited them.
All right. And now, first of all, the beginning of that response is completely incoherent, goes in several directions because he keeps stopping himself because he's trying to self-edit and not get himself into trouble by saying something he's not supposed to say. But he's lying when he says he voluntarily opened every single aperture in his house and offices, because it took several days, if not weeks, to negotiate with the Justice Department whether his beach home would be searched or whether his Wilmington home would be searched. And that was only after he sent his own private attorneys to search for documents.
Nobody, and so, and the best of my knowledge, the kinds of things they picked up are things that from 1974. And stray papers. There may be something else I don't know.
Holy cow, where to begin on this one? First, by adding that caveat, to the best of my knowledge, is a thing shifty politicians do to make sure they don't get stuck in a lie. Also, he's revealed now that there was a document that dates back to nearly 5 decades. That's a hell of an admission. Either he's held onto a classified document that he shouldn't have since he was a senator back in the mid-70s, or he deliberately acquired that classified document after the fact when he was president or vice president in the intervening years. Why? Was it because it was something he didn't want anyone else to see as he was mounting his run for president? And finally, he says there may be something else I don't know. Wait a second. He just said that he opened every single aperture in his house and offices and everything for everybody to come in and spend hours searching his home. How can there still be something else? This is a typical cover your you-know-what moment, where if more documents are discovered, this statement won't come back to bite him in the butt.
But one of the things that happened is that what was not done well is as they packed up my offices to move them, they didn't do the kind of job that should have been done to go thoroughly through every single piece of literature.
Oh, and there it is, the cherry on top. He's blaming his staff. The people who are in charge of packing his things didn't do a good job. Really, going back to 1974? Somebody explain that. And why isn't this excuse good enough for Donald Trump? Does somebody think that Donald Trump was personally packing his boxes when he left the White House? I don't think Donald Trump has actually ever personally packed a box in his whole life. No offense. Well, there you have it. In just 1 minute, Judy Woodruff shows herself to be the partisan hack that she's always been. And Joe Biden, while saying he's not supposed to say anything about the issue, says enough to open up another 10 questions that we all have that he's going to have to deflect and lie about in the future. One thing's for certain. It's clear there's a difference between the way he's handled this and the way former President Trump has. Yes, it's crystal clear. There's more to come on O'Connor Tonight. You're watching Salem News Channel.